So picture this. I woke up one day at 6 a.m. and I was just excited. I was ready to attack the day with all of my energy. I'd slept earlier the night before. I was just dreaming about this day that I was going to wake up early and just get all of my tasks done. And as I was about to sit down on my desk, I noticed my phone and I grabbed it. And I spent 3 hours just scrolling and watching YouTube instead of working. And I've written all about it in my journal. You can pause for proof. Where I say I woke up at 6:30 today. A great opportunity awaiting me, which left me right now as I picked up my phone and used it till 9:30 a.m. If you want to discipline yourself and stop procrastinating that so that you can get more work done in less time, achieve your financial goals 5 times faster, and also feel good about completing all of your work in a single day than people do in a whole week, then just listen up because I'm going to tell you how to do so by going over how to start working ASAP when you are going to procrastinate, what to do when you feel like stopping work in the middle of your session, and how to take breaks so that you never procrastinate again. Let's get into it. So, step number one, how to actually start working ASAP. I remember when I was struggling with not being able to sit down on my desk, my room, just imagine this with me, my room had this sort of gloomy and bad aura. The table was just full of stuff, and the bed was right next to my table. And as I looked at my table from a distance, I had this sort of weird feeling like I was incapable, of doing the work. I felt an unconscious feeling like I just could not complete my tasks no matter what I did. And so it wasn't even worth starting it. And of course, I just started jacking off instead. Took my phone, put on YouTube, and I laid on my bed and just started jacking off. And after that, I felt like shit. I felt so damn ashamed of myself. Most importantly, I felt tired, which is why I just left the room, never came back that day. And I used to keep doing this every single day. But one day I felt like I needed to commit. So I only thought of work that day. The only thing that I could think of was work. I was taking a bath. I was thinking of what I was supposed to do that day, what subject I was going to study, what tasks I was going to complete. When I was eating, I was thinking of it. And you know what happened that day? I sat down and I got 90% of my work done with full focus. I felt fucking amazing after that. And I was whistling, I was asking everyone, I was socializing, I was talking to my family, listening to them. And everyone in my family they just kept asking me, like, Iyad, why are you so happy? What happened? What happened? And so you need to understand that if you never start working in the first place, how do you expect to get ahead of your competition? Like literally right now, just if you look at your laptop, and you think of the work ahead of you and you just give up. How do you expect to trust yourself to achieve your goals? Like, man, how do you even expect yourself to have respect for yourself? And the way I stopped personally, like avoiding work in the first place, was that I used to imagine doing the task 10 times when I didn't feel like doing it. What also helped was that I used to do the task first thing in the morning, because it was easier to get into grind mode. Like, you should do this. If you have trouble with doing a certain task, just wake up early and do it first thing in the morning, and it's going to be easy for you to go into that flow state, into that grind mode that you're really just looking to get into. You also need to know what drives you. I found out what drove me, what triggered me emotionally, and what I was passionate about. And I started visualizing that every single day. I started having affirmations. I started visualizing what would happen if I didn't get what I wanted. What would happen if I just stayed normal like everybody else. By the way, I help guys find out their drive and become disciplined entrepreneurs. So you can just hop on a call with me tomorrow. It's like the first link in the description. So it's completely free to start, and I promise you won't regret it. So just book right now. Anyways, back to the video. It will sting a bit when you try to do stuff first thing in the morning, but once you start doing it, right? Once you start creating goals and you make commitments, you'll start feeling proud of yourself for being a hard worker. You'll do things that you care about and you will be able to work whenever required. But the main benefit of doing this is that you will be confident in front of others. You will be confident in yourself. You will have more hours of work and you will have free will to do what you want without being controlled. And you will know deep down inside that you are truly, truly working hard. Step number 2, what to do when you feel like stopping work. So, once I started working, I set up a timer for myself, but my mind kept wandering off. So I'd gotten rid of the first obstacle, right? I'd gotten past the first obstacle, which was to start work in the first place. But now the second one was I just couldn't focus. My mind kept getting distracted, right? Oh, what's that girl's thinking about me right now? Because I just talked to her yesterday in class. Oh, I had eye contact with this girl yesterday. Oh, what about that YouTube video that I was thinking about? Should I complete it? What about this Netflix episode? I wanted to work so damn badly, but I just didn't want to get distracted, but I was weak. I felt weak. I felt hopeless as I opened a new tab and played a Netflix episode. I used to suffer daily, but one day I decided to fix the issue. I researched and experimented and I found out how to not break my workflow. And that day I worked for an hour with the most focus that I had ever had in my life. And I know that 1 hour might not sound like much. It's like, yeah, people can do 1 hour, but that was the first time that I had actually used my focus and sat down for an hour without getting distracted. It felt amazing, man. It felt so damn good. I felt proud of myself for doing it. And you see, it's a big problem. It's a big problem to start working, but this is really just the next problem that most of the people out there just face, that you probably face. Like, imagine if you never get into flow state, even if you worked for 12 hours a day, how could you feel good about yourself? If you started working for long, but you were distracted by the number of hairs you have on your hand. Oh, one, two, three. Bro, you can't, you can't count the number of hairs on your hand. What's the point of doing that? How can you expect to check off your to-do list if you're busy doing bullshit? And so understand this, right? The trick that I used to break my flow, to not break my flow, sorry, was that I understood what dopamine was. So basically, if you don't understand it, it's kind of a chemical that your brain produces when it feels good after a certain action. So for example, doom scrolling, right? When you open Instagram and you scroll through a bunch of reels, each time you're scrolling, you're basically emitting some dopamine and you're feeling good. And this doom scrolling gives a lot of dopamine, but with enough practice, even deep work can give you enough dopamine and can make you disciplined enough to keep constantly working and feel good about it. Whenever my mind wandered, before I gave up, I said this one thing to myself and note this down or just list this somewhere, write it somewhere because this is important. Whenever my mind wandered, whenever I felt distracted, I used to say this one sentence to myself before I gave up. I know that this is painful. I know that this does not feel good, but it will evoke dopamine later, increasing my focus level in this moment. And I kept saying this each time I wanted to give up. And it'll take some getting used to. It might not even probably like work for the first few times. But if you want to be able to get into grind set mode, right? If you want to really just crush your competition, you need to develop the skill because you need to just keep practicing this until you develop it enough that you never start getting distracted in your sessions. And the benefit of doing this is that you will eventually be able to work up to double the amount of hours you work currently. And your work will be faster, it'll be more efficient, and you will be more productive because it is scientifically proven that when you are in this flow state, you work 500 times better than your normal state. And also, by the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, I have a Telegram community. Just join it. It has like 30 plus voice notes of pure game, pure sauce. Plus, you might find something that, you're just really suffering with, and you might find a solution there. So that's linked in the description. Give it a join. It's good, I promise you. Anyways, step number 3: how to take breaks so that you never procrastinate again. The last thing that I fixed related to my work was breaks. I used to take breaks by picking up my phone and just opening YouTube or seeing messages, right? Seeing DMs and stuff. And when I came back, like I finished one session, I finished 2 sessions, but when I took a break and I checked my DMs, I was all distracted and stuff. I felt like stopping the work in the next session, right? Imagine this. I do the first session, I take a break, but I didn't use that break properly. And so in the second session, I felt distracted. I felt like, nah, I don't really want to do this work. I don't like how it makes me feel. Understand that the way you take breaks is going to decide whether you will do well in your session or you won't. How can you fight another battle without treating your injuries from the first battle? How can you expect to even keep going on? And the way I took breaks was that I used to keep my work open, right? So imagine I was writing something down, I was taking some notes. When I took a break, I didn't close the notebook, I kept it open so that there was least resistance whenever I came back. Whenever I came back, I could just start, just without any sort of resistance, just start doing the work. And I used to have a storybook I really liked, right? So there's this Kindle, this Kindle is the exact thing that I used to use, right? Whenever I took breaks. It's like I had a few storybooks in this, and whenever I took breaks, I would just start reading because it wasn't dopamine invoking or anything. It was, in fact, fun and actually good for my brain. You could also go for a walk. You could talk to family or friends and maybe even do some TikTok girl dances and then come back to work. But you need to start with 50 minutes of work and take 10 minutes breaks, right? This is kind of like the Pomodoro technique, but this really worked for me and I think it'll work for you. Take 50 minutes of your time doing work and take 10 minutes of your time spend 10 minutes of your time in a break. And if you really just want to keep hustling with the same energy as your first hour of work, you have to take the right medicine, man. You have to take the right breaks. If you have a certain type of a wound, but you don't take the right medicine, right? If you have a wound that only heals through leaves, but you apply scientific, experimented human medicine on it, it's not gonna heal. You need to have the right medicine. You need to take the right breaks so that you can attack with the same energy that you attacked with in the first session. And right, the benefit of doing all of this is that, first of all, you will feel energized, right? You will feel completely energetic to do another session, to just go for another session, and you'll be ready. And plus, you'll feel the need to be better than the last session. So this happened to me, right? I used to do the first session, but in the next session, I used to think, okay, well, 50 minutes, right? Last session, I didn't get so much done. I got maybe XYZ tasks completed. Not much. I'm going to do a bigger task. I'm going to do a Z task, which is much bigger than this in 50 minutes. And I used to start working faster. It used to be kind of this fun, challenging game for me to get more stuff done in the next session and more stuff done in the next session. And right. And thirdly, you'll also fix the dopamine in your brain and it will slowly but surely help you regain control of yourself. Right? It's only in the hardest times, right? I can't express how good I feel about just telling people this, right? How good I feel about this learning that I had in my life. It's so important to me. And it's that you find most about yourself when you actually work hard. When you stop procrastinating and you put yourself in hard situations and you're doing the hard work, you actually start finding yourself. You start fixing your mind, your body, right? And you start regaining control of yourself. In this world full of traps, where everyone is trying to get your attention, where everyone is out there to just get your attention, get your eyes fixed on the screen, always fixed, and never be able to focus on your work while they focus on their work and get ahead and get ahead. It's important to work hard, man. It's important to do the tasks that you've been missing out on. And you'll find more about yourself that way. You'll find what drives you. You'll find what you like, what you don't like. And most importantly, you'll actually be on the right path. Finally. And so to summarize, after this video ends, basically all you have to do is that imagine doing the task 10 times whenever you feel like procrastinating. And that will help in getting the task, and just getting started with the task. And start waking up early, by the way, because that really helps. Plus, number 2, tell yourself to keep working even when you're distracted, using that one sentence I told you about. And number 3, take proper breaks to feel energized and attack with the same power that you had in the first session, in the second session. And lastly, bye.